For decades, one nutrition message dominated headlines, doctors' offices, and government guidelines. Eat less fat to protect your health. Eggs were labeled cholesterol bombs. Butter was replaced with margarine. Red meat was pushed aside in favor of low-fat products and generous servings of bread, cereal, rice, and pasta. At first glance, the advice seemed logical. Fat contains more calories per gram than carbohydrates, so reducing fat appeared to be the simplest path to weight loss. But then something unexpected happened. As low-fat eating became more common, rates of obesity and type 2 diabetes continued to climb across many countries instead of falling. Does this prove that low-fat diets caused the problem? Not necessarily. Many factors, including larger portion sizes, ultra-processed foods, reduced physical activity, and lifestyle changes, also played important roles. Yet this striking trend raises an important scientific question. Could focusing almost entirely on cutting fat have distracted us from a much bigger issue? In this video, we'll explore how this decades-old advice shaped the way millions of people eat, what current research suggests, where the evidence is strong, where uncertainty remains, and why understanding the full story may completely change the way you think about fat. Have you ever wondered why you're hungry just an hour after eating a healthy, low-fat meal? Imagine two breakfasts. One includes eggs and avocado. The other is a bowl of sugary cereal with low-fat milk. They may contain similar calories, yet many people notice they feel hungry much sooner after the second meal. One reason may be how fat affects digestion. Fat naturally slows the movement of food through the stomach, allowing nutrients to enter the bloodstream more gradually. When a meal is dominated by refined carbohydrates and contains very little fat, blood sugar may rise more quickly, followed by a faster drop. Some human studies suggest this pattern can increase hunger in certain people, although individual responses vary. This doesn't mean fat should be unlimited or that carbohydrates are unhealthy. Instead, it highlights why meal composition matters. And as you'll soon see, this rapid cycle of hunger may be closely connected to one powerful hormone: insulin. What if your constant hunger isn't a lack of willpower, but a signal driven by biology? Picture your body as a thermostat trying to keep blood sugar within a narrow range. When a meal is packed with refined carbohydrates, blood sugar can rise quickly, prompting the pancreas to release insulin. Insulin helps move glucose into cells, but when levels rise sharply, blood sugar may also fall more rapidly afterward. For some people, this drop can trigger hunger and cravings, encouraging another high-carb snack and repeating the cycle. Research suggests this response varies between individuals and depends on overall diet, activity, and metabolic health. The key lesson isn't to fear carbohydrates, but to reduce highly refined sources and build meals that support steadier energy throughout the day. At first, the math seems impossible to argue with. Fat provides more calories per gram than carbohydrates, so eating less fat should automatically mean eating fewer calories. But the human body doesn't always follow simple arithmetic. Imagine finishing a low-fat lunch, only to find yourself searching for a snack an hour later. If hunger returns sooner, those extra bites throughout the day can quietly erase the calories you thought you had saved. Research suggests that feeling full depends not only on calorie content, but also on how satisfying a meal is. Protein, fiber, and healthy fats all play important roles in satiety, while highly refined carbohydrates may leave some people hungry again more quickly. This doesn't mean high-fat diets guarantee weight loss or that low-fat diets never work. The real lesson is that long-term success often depends on a dietary pattern that helps you naturally control hunger, making it easier to eat an appropriate amount without feeling deprived. What happens when insulin is asked to work overtime, day after day? Imagine a doorbell that rings non-stop. Eventually, the people inside become slower to answer. A similar idea may help explain insulin resistance. Insulin's job is to move glucose from the bloodstream into cells. But repeated high insulin levels, often linked to frequent intake of refined carbohydrates and excess calories, may gradually reduce how well the body responds in some individuals. Research in humans suggests insulin resistance is associated with greater fat storage, especially around the abdomen, and a higher risk of metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. However, the relationship is complex and influenced by genetics, body weight, physical activity, sleep, and overall diet. That's why improving metabolic health isn't about blaming one nutrient. It's about creating eating patterns that reduce repeated glucose spikes and support healthier insulin function over time. What if fat isn't the villain we've been taught to fear, but one of the body's essential building materials? Think of your body as a house under constant repair. Energy alone isn't enough. It also needs quality materials to keep every room functioning. Natural fats do far more than provide fuel. They help the body absorb the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, which support vision, bone health, immunity, and normal blood clotting. Fats are also key components of cell membranes and the myelin sheath, the protective layer that helps nerve signals travel efficiently. In addition, cholesterol serves as a raw material for producing several important steroid hormones. While research continues to refine our understanding of different dietary fats, these biological roles are well established. The real question, then, isn't whether we need fat, but which kinds of fat best support long-term health. What if the biggest question isn't how much fat you eat, but which fat ends up on your plate? Imagine buying two pieces of wood to build a house. They may look similar, but one is solid oak, while the other is damaged by moisture. The body's cells face a similar choice. Foods such as eggs, extra virgin olive oil, avocados, nuts, and minimally processed fats provide nutrients in their natural food matrix. By contrast, repeatedly heated frying oils and some highly refined oils can undergo oxidation during processing or cooking, producing compounds that researchers continue to study for their potential health effects. Evidence also suggests that maintaining a balanced intake of omega-6 and omega-3 fats may matter more than simply increasing one type alone. Rather than fearing all fat, a more practical goal is choosing minimally processed sources as part of an overall balanced diet. Could two identical cuts of meat contain different types of fat? Surprisingly, the answer may be yes. Think of an animal's diet as the ingredients used in a recipe. What it eats can influence the composition of the food it eventually provides. Research suggests that animals raised on more natural feeding patterns, such as grass-fed cattle, often have a different fatty acid profile, including a more favorable omega-3 to omega-6 balance than animals fed large amounts of corn and soy. The differences vary by species, farming practices, and final product, so they should not be overstated. Still, this reminds us that food quality begins long before it reaches our plate. Instead of judging meat by fat content alone, it may be more useful to consider how the animal was raised and how that food fits into an overall balanced dietary pattern. What if improving your metabolism isn't about eating more fat, but about giving your body fewer glucose surges to manage? Imagine driving in heavy stop-and-go traffic all day. The constant braking and accelerating place extra strain on the engine. Frequent spikes in blood sugar and insulin may create a similar challenge for the body's metabolic system. Research suggests that, for some people with insulin resistance, Reducing refined carbohydrates while maintaining adequate protein may help improve blood sugar control and increase satiety. Healthy fats can then serve as an important source of energy within a balanced eating pattern. However, no single approach works for everyone. The best dietary strategy depends on personal health, medications, and lifestyle. The goal isn't to fear carbohydrates, but to choose higher quality sources and reduce the refined foods that may place greater demands on metabolic health. So, where does this journey leave us? Perhaps the biggest lesson is that nutrition is rarely about labeling one nutrient as entirely good or entirely bad. Natural fats are not the enemy they were once believed to be. Instead, growing evidence suggests that overall dietary quality matters far more than simply cutting fat. Choosing minimally processed foods, limiting refined carbohydrates, and avoiding repeatedly heated cooking oils may support better metabolic health for many people. At the same time, individual needs can differ based on age, medical conditions, medications, and personal goals. That's why no single eating pattern is right for everyone. Rather than fearing fat, focus on building balanced meals with wholesome ingredients and discuss major dietary changes with your healthcare professional if you have a chronic condition. The smartest diet isn't the most restrictive. It's the one that is nutritious, sustainable, and right for you.